Forgiveness. The experience of fighting for my life with the backdrop of a global pandemic taught me some valuable lessons about forgiveness, bitterness, the appreciation of relationships, how much God loves me, how much I love my husband, the importance of loyalty, and most importantly, no matter how old you get, you always need your mom. Some of the surprising sweets was finding out my ex-husband's girlfriend anonymously donated to my GoFundMe. Up to that point, I had already forgiven the both of them for starting their relationship while we were still married, but I was wary of them and her constantly trying to talk to me. I didn't see the need to have any communication with her, but I realized that many people wouldn't have donated to their man's ex-wife fund. That taught me another level of forgiveness that I needed to complete and accept that this girl was trying in every way to communicate with me, and I kept shutting her out. I'm not saying this gesture meant kumbaya, now we're all friends. It taught me that nothing was wrong with being responsive if she tried to communicate. The overwhelming response to my GoFundMe was another great sweet that surprised me. People I did not know donated to the fund and shared it on their social media pages. People like my childhood friend Tandieka went out of her way to contact my family in Guyana and donate cash. My old job that I left years ago even donated. These gestures were paramount in reminding me about the importance of forgiveness and growth. When I left my job years ago, I was very unhappy with my then manager and some of the things she'd put me through before I left. After I left, we'd connected on social media, and she would reach out from time to time to check on me. She would be instrumental in getting that same company to donate to my fund. Had I chosen not to forgive her and not remained in touch, this would have never happened. One of the major sour experiences of having cancer was the toll it took on my marriage. My husband was my main caregiver from the moment we found out of my diagnosis. There were fights here and there, but every couple fights, especially couples in their first year of marriage. I think I underestimated the toll it took on us until I was in the hospital recovering from the transplant. As we all know, it always takes two, right? While yes, Michael didn't help either in easing my concerns and fears. I am equally to blame. That's why the song, Tell Me You Love Me, by Demi Lovato is what I chose to sum up our marriage. It all started with him, not being honest about someone. I will leave her name out of it, and it happened before I got sick. But it turns out she was an ex that he kept in touch with and even shared accounts with in regard to Netflix and HBO. Mind you, I wouldn't have cared, but he didn't tell me. He just simply said she was a friend. It pissed me off, bringing me back to my failed marriage. My ex lied and lied. He lied to me, to the counselor, and most horrendous of all, our pastor. So in this new marriage, I was not going to allow this to happen again. And yes, I was heavy-handed. In retrospect, I was a little heavy-handed than I intended to be. I think it turned him off, especially when I got very aggressive with him while he sat in his chair. He felt threatened and told me so. His words were, "That bullshit may have worked with Richard, but that won't fly here." Richard, in case you were wondering, was my ex-husband. So after that, my trust in him was cracked and things, I'll admit, were weird. Plus, I can tell it frustrated him. He didn't do anything and I acted like he did. Was his argument, and yes, he was right. There was an instance where I thought he was having an affair with someone overseas. He wasn't. It turned out it was someone working for him. I hated it when he dropped everything to answer the texts. But deep down, I knew how he was with his books and writing. Seeing new artwork for him was like a kid waking up to presents Christmas morning, so I started to understand. But he never understood. Once treated a certain way the first time, your guard will come up quickly to prevent and stop it from happening again. Then there was when I got sick. That hurt most of all.